Spawning here in the top right from Russia with love, the red Protoss, Dewalt.
And his opponent here. And the bottom left, our blue Terran player from China, XuanXuan.
You know, PvT on this map, carriers are super good, man. I think Bonyth likes them a bit more than Dewalt. I'm curious what Dewalt wants to do on this map, but drops are a big factor as well. You kind of want to go for early shuttle, not just to take an island base, but to deny the tank drop behind your natural as well. So the game will look a little bit different than what we usually see.
Yeah, when I think of Dewalt PvT, I definitely think more of that kind of shuttle style aggression, which is pretty decent on this map as well. But this map is just so unbelievably good for carriers. It feels like a crime not to go carriers on this map.
It does, but I think you're astute in your observation that Dewalt is shuttle man, right? Like his style in PvT is just pure gateway man with speed shuttles. That's just what he usually does. It's still pretty good on this map, but honestly, carriers are supreme on this map. So I'm really curious if he'll still just go into carriers despite it not being his forte. It looks like he is going to be kicking things off with a Nexus first, which is actually quite expected on this map.
Yeah, it looks like XuanXuan wanted to go for 13 CC, but he is going to get early scouted, so he is just going to go and drop that barracks and refinery. And this is kind of what sucks about this map for Terran as well. It's like you want to go 13 or 15 CC, because Protoss is likely to go 12 Nexus and there's nothing you can do about it. But if they do something else, well, you can die. That's the problem, right? They can go greedy and you can't do anything about it, but you can go greedy and die.
Yeah. This is going to look a little bit like Mong's games, where he kind of does like a bunker expand with a gas, except he's taking the gas a little bit ahead of schedule than something like Mong would do. So it'll end up looking like a bad factory expand in terms of the timings. This factory is going to be super late.
Yeah, this is more of the you might be proxying me reaction, right? This is kind of the thing that sucks, is when you get scouted, you have to respect the possibility that there's something coming now. And you don't want to be gas stolen and have something going on like proxy rowboat or anything, right? Because you can still lose to like any of the standard PvT kind of like reactions to builds like that.
Right.
So it just kind of sucks. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say proxies are actually reasonably common on maps like this as well, so you kind of have to respect it.
Yep, so gonna be pretty favored here for Dewalt to start us off, and this probe actually finding a lot of damage onto these SCVs, delaying stuff quite a bit. Does cause that SCV to hop off. I think it was like 1 or 2 hits away, so...
2, yeah. It was very close. He's gonna try and see if he can hunt that down, manually left-clicking on the SCVs in the main mineral line, see if he can find that low HP SCV. Not gonna find it just yet, but this does cause a lot of lost mining time with this probe. Oh, he's found it!
Alright. SCV goes down, and SCC got delayed for a while, by the way. We just dropped it at almost 600 minerals, so not a great start for XuanXuan here.
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad player, but he's not that like calm, calculated Mihu, right?
Yeah.
He's having a little bit of a hard time navigating this bizarre situation that he's found himself in. And that's going to help out Dewalt in a big way, like getting a small lead. It's a big psychological edge as well. Like losing an SCV isn't the end of the world, but as a StarCraft gamer, it really does sting you psychologically when something like that happens, and it can compound into a bigger advantage later on if you're not playing in the ebb and flow and finding your flow state properly.
Yeah, it's the SCV loss, which like it has that mental damage, as well as the like awareness, right, that your other stuff is all kind of messed up. Like your factory coming out delayed, you forgot to make your CC on time because you were trying to protect this SCV that died anyway. Like stuff like that always feels awful. We do have a kind of a sneaky Vulture and Zealot both backstabbing each other here.
Seems like Dewalt might come out ahead of that because he's actually pylon blocked his own natural. Oh, he's actually cancelled it, so the Vulture's still gonna get in there. Bit of unfortunate timing for him. He cancelled it to let the Dragoon out. Now the Vulture going into the main base, but he has got a Zealot and Dragoon combo also going into XuanXuan's main, and it's only Vultures popping out, so we might actually get some decent damage onto the SCVs.
Yeah, does lose a few probes on the other side of the map, but like you said, it's only Vulture so far, but these SCVs gonna drill on top of this Zoa very, very well, actually. It doesn't get hardly any swipes off. And now this Goon, I mean, a Goon shooting SCVs is like the most slow death that an SCV could ever go through. Does at least spot the add-on here from the starport with the
I was about to say, if anything, that's better than just, you know, doing any SCV damage. Actually scouting that it's going to be Vulture or a drop tech play, because obviously on this map it could just be a tank drop. It doesn't have to be a Vulture drop because of that space behind the natural. But that's so much good intel for Dewalt.
Yeah, it's going to micro this Vulture back and save that, which is nice. Things this Goon up. Vulture, sorry, Goon does run through the mine here and actually just keep sending Goon. This is very Moonrise style, by the way. You know, there's mines out and you just keep going. Like,
he's going to two-base carrier as well, man. I like to see it. Dewalt's not really a carrier man kind of guy, but he understands that this is the best map for carriers. Killing a couple of SCVs in the natural. We'll have to fall back once this tank shows up, but honestly, this has been fantastic from Dewalt.
Yeah, I actually really like the Corsairs. So I think Corsair is actually pretty decent on this map. They can chase down the dropships. Obviously, they kill them very slowly, but it's very good for like securing your natural. Because one of the things you're worried about with this dropship is going to be that tank drop, behind here to hit your natural, and the Corsair can just kill the dropship and prevent that from continuing.
Yeah, I don't think you would probably see that on any map besides this one. It'd be super hilarious if he actually does hunt down that dropship, but it looks like the drop will instead go on the right-hand side of the map and the Corsair's on the left, so he's actually going to avoid getting chased down by that Corsair as a result. He's taking a much more direct route.
Yeah, this will deny the mining for quite a bit. The Corsair actually, because it saw the starport blinking, is going to sit there and wait for that, but it's going to get canceled, and he's not going to be ready for this. So this is going to deny the mining for a decent bit of time. Actually, Siege mode isn't even ready.
Oh, this is an awkward moment for XuanXuan, man. He's going to miss out on a lot of potential damage there, unfortunately.
Where's the dropship going? We got to get vision.
Yeah. It's coming back. It's coming back, Arzu. Don't sweat it. Oh, one Dragoon going down right away, and he will have to evacuate these probes. I guess he's going to clean this up with carriers, but he can also just clear out this dropship so there's no vision, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what the Corsair is for, right? It's to stop the dropship from getting vision. Actually, these goons need to not do this to themselves. Okay, well, it's gonna be okay either way.
Yeah. Oh, he can't quite get firing positions on that tank. It's like 1 pixel off or something on that top side. Well, carriers are ready.
He's gonna come back and give vision for one more shot here.
Don't actually just gonna squeeze in here.
It's actually hilarious. The amount of value this Marine got by walking over here is actually crazy, because that's like 2 or 3 returns minimum from these probes. So that's actually a fair amount of money lost for your 50 Marines.
This game is really insane, man. Some high-level stuff. Corsair and now a Marine just chilling in the natural to give a bit more vision and denial. But we've got a move out here from XuanXuan. I don't know if he's got a timing against these carriers, though. He hasn't got an anti-air to really fight against this just yet. I'm not sure. What is he doing with this move out? This feels really ambitious from XuanXuan.
Yeah, I think we're about to do the I don't want to play this game push. Just kind of push into it. Yeah, you're gonna set up a bunch of turrets. You're gonna sit out here, and then maybe slow push your way in. But you know, there's all these rocks out here to prevent exactly this. To make it where you can't push like hyper aggressively into the natural with turrets. And I just don't know that he's going to be able to muster enough Goliath to fight this off rip. Is that 40 carrier is already done?
He just popped out.
Okay.
Just popping out. Yeah. Okay. So maybe there's a timing here. I mean, he's getting some Goliaths to the front. He's taking a third behind this for insurance. He's got some turrets set up. It takes a long time to actually build those interceptors. So maybe this attack can be successful from XuanXuan. I don't think it will be, but I guess there's hope.
Yeah, doesn't look great. I mean, it's so hard to push up the ramp into this.
Yeah,
like,
because of the
it's gonna
rocky
be,
ground, like you said.
yeah, like you can't build any turrets back here. These turrets behind them are just kind of retreat turrets. They don't really do a whole lot for them. And now Dewalt's gonna get the news that this is out here. And there's just only, what, 5 Goliaths so far, a few more coming in. But like you said, it's not like the interceptor count's not built up yet, so it's not super scary yet.
Yeah, maybe this can work. I think Dewalt still shuts it down. He's taking double island bases, by the way. He's going to take 3 o'clock and the top left corner. Just needs to survive, but it's taken him a long time to build these interceptors. Maybe there's a way of him killing a carrier now. If he kills the carrier with the high interceptor count, that would be huge. This is, oh, a D-Web as well. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, like that D-Web gonna go down on these tanks. Goliath. A lot of these tanks Goliath not firing because they're walking into the ground army as well of the wall. Like, any damage your goons and zealots are getting on top of the Goliath, and you're already this light on Goliath is pretty huge for you.
I mean, that D-Web was pimp, man. Like, this would be like a Pimpus Plays 2026 type deal. That was seriously sick. A great way of getting extra value out of that unit that you made just to kill the dropship. And yeah, Dewalt going to be taking these 2 island bases behind this, so the 3rd base not as scary from XuanXuan.
No, not at all. Wait, did we? What was this? What? No, this is from the Protoss earlier, right?
Yeah, no, it's wait. Unless he repaired it a tiny bit. No, he killed that SCV. Something else happened. So it
might have been from the zealots in the goon.
The zealot goon, yeah, that's probably what. Yeah, it's got 14 HP, which means it was being hit by a zealot.
Yeah, okay. It's just, it looked like he got like storm dropped or something. I was confused for a second, but I think it just like over transferred.
Yeah. He's just had a bit of bad mineral smoothing going on. He actually hasn't got that many SCVs in his natural or his 3rd. I think too many SCVs in the main or something.
Yeah, it would have to be, I would think.
Oh yeah, he's got way too many in the main. Yeah, it's just a mineral smoothing issue.
Alright, well, not looking great for XuanXuan right now. The carrier count is getting pretty high, and unfortunately when the carrier count gets up, there's just really no way to properly stop these bases from coming up in the island bases, which have so much more money to yield.
But it's not just the carrier count, it's the fact that there's no upgrades for Terran, right? Like, that's the main thing. Like, even with 1-1 mech, you don't feel super safe against carriers. So the fact that he's got no upgrades right now, and Dewalt already has +1 weapons, you're falling behind the curve of the game in such a dramatic fashion. This is not bad though, doing a little bit of a drop here in the top left to shut that down, but when you're going carriers, you don't really need a lot of bases mining. You just need a few to keep replenishing interceptors and gradually filling out that carrier fleet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, how often is it that you see the carriers have more upgrades than the mech, by the way? Like,
very rare.
You're right, that pretty much never happens.
Yeah, he's just now got +1 weapons on his mech, so it's something. But not having the armor upgrade means that he just, takes so much more alpha damage from the interceptors as well. What's the interceptor attack? Is it called twin cannons or something?
I don't know.
No, you have to actually select the interceptor. Oh, pulse cannon. Okay, yeah. One of the ones I wasn't quite sure of.
Well, how embarrassing, John.
I know, right? I only got one of the 2 words correct. I need to punish myself.
Twin cannons? Oh my god. Are you even cast this game?
I'm gonna flagellate myself after this, don't worry, Ozzy.
Alright. They're all gonna be pushing into this little container. Another D-Matrix going down on top of 2 of these tanks, disabling a lot of that DPS coming down for these goons and zealots. As he's gonna clean this up with the carriers. And we see him taking a big supply lead. And as I mentioned before, supplies when it's even, usually Terran favored, GG gonna be called. But yeah, when it's even or ahead and it's carriers on the field, it kind of changes the way the numbers work.
Yeah, that's rough, man. I kind of feel bad for XuanXuan. He kind of got outplayed from start to finish in that game. Some nice ideas from him, but seemed like Dewalt had answers ahead of schedule. So 1 point on the board, and we're going to be going into Metropolis now. This can be a pretty bad map for TVP if you get bad spawns.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's hop into it. Let's keep the ball rolling.
Let's go. Spawning here in the top right, representing China, XuanXuan.
And his opponent representing Russia in the bottom right, to be at Dewalt.
Okay, so we got actually pretty good spawns for XuanXuan. He can expand away from the Protoss in his natural 3rd and Dewalt would have to expand towards the Terran if he wants to take his natural third. So this is pretty good for our Terran.
Yeah, nice bonds, and this also leans pretty good for XuanXuan if he wants to take middle as well as his fourth. There's a lot of the games, if you get into a game state where you can take middle as your fourth base in this matchup, this is one of the things that make this map a lot more bearable. A lot of Terran players hate this map, TVP, because of how hard it can be to expand, but yeah, if you get that middle control, you can kind of pivot into a lot of different things from there.
I think that was something that Terrans really realized when we were playing on Retro, right? Like, you kind of couldn't take a fourth base besides the center, and it kind of opened up the range of play, being like, oh, actually, there's a new way we can play Terran. We can just take the center as our fourth and establish a strong attacking position in the center and kind of simplify the equation rather than, like, trying to cover too much ground.
I kind of forgot about that on Retro. I guess because I wasn't really playing Terran then. But yeah, you're right. Retro's kind of where it started, and then Deja Vu is where we like really started to establish that this is a legitimate base to be taking.
Right. But if I know XuanXuan, which is very little, but he's a pretty aggressive guy, so we might not even get to that fourth base situation.
That's true. Yeah, we're over here talking about expansions as if XuanXuan didn't take like a 16-minute natural in his first game.
He's like the opposite of Artosis. He takes very little bases, but he actually goes on the other side of the map.
Yeah, right. We're all gonna get the first scout here on XuanXuan, but luckily for him, it's not a really quick scout, which can usually be infuriating sometimes.
Yeah. I guess this is going to be a lot better for XuanXuan, though. You know, the gas and the barracks timing a lot more traditional. To see the factory timing, 229 is optimal. He's almost hitting that. 2 seconds slow, but, you know, it's reasonable.
Yeah, 230 is acceptable. Did he 11 gas? His gas income was like really high, but it...
I don't think so, because unless he would have really messed up his optimization, that factory would be way quicker, right? Like with 11 gas, you're getting like a 222, 223 factory.
Yeah, I mean, 222 is like pretty amazing, right? For 11 gas, but it's just his gas income was so high. He was waiting on minerals because he made that extra depot, and I'm wondering if it's because he got scouted. I kind of wish I was paying a little bit more attention, but he actually had gas at like 223. That's why I thought maybe it was 11 gas, because that was way too fast for 12 gas.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he took it like 11.5. I just took it at a wonky timing to avoid the gas steal or something.
Yeah. Anyway, not a big deal either way. He didn't cut SCVs for it, so it's not like he's behind regardless in really any fashion. Like you said, just like 1 or 2 seconds late on that factory, not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in StarCraft there are situations where the seconds make a big difference, but not usually. Second factory, a lot of aggression from him. He seems to like 2 factory on this map. I have seen a lot of good Terrans use 2 factory on this map, more so than any other map, actually. I think this is one of the highest percentages of 2 factory out of the map pool.
Yeah, I'm wondering why it is. Maybe because of the way you can kind of shell the natural from like around the corner, potentially, is what they're thinking.
Maybe, yeah.
I know for Knockout, I really like 2-fact on that map, because yes, while it sucks to push up the ramp, you can just shell the natural from like the ramp itself, like from above the ramp. So it's like super strong on that map.
Dewalt's already challenging the Marines early, so this is really good for him. He's killed 2 Marines ahead of schedule. That's so much less tanking ability. Like, these Marines soak up 4 shots apiece, so getting 2 of them off the board right off the bat, and you're just recharging those shields feels great.
Yeah, this is a fantastic start for Dewalt so far. Because he recognized what was happening, delayed his Nexus for quite a bit, so he's going to have a really high unit count to deal with this. So it's going to be very hard for XuanXuan to get his bunker up like he did against Dewalt.
Yeah, he's going to trade a Zealot for another couple Marine kills here. Gets 3 total, now 4. And he hasn't taken much HP damage from these Dragoons, so he's feeling fantastic right now. He's clearing out mines before the Terrans even moved out. This is about as good as it gets.
He's the one attacking XuanXuan right now, like
with 1 gateway.
Yeah, that tank almost went down as well. It took like a couple volleys there, so he's gonna have to repair that. He's used his mines defensively right now, and Dewalt's dropping a Nexus that's gonna be finishing relatively soon.
I almost wonder if like XuanXuan's like scratching his head, like I'm meant to be the one attacking. What's even happening in this game?
Yeah. I was thinking about this when I was watching Hawk play. This happens sometimes where it's like, there's nothing more embarrassing to me when I'm going for like a 6-fact all-in, and then they kill me before I leave my base. I'm like, wait, that was bad. That should not have happened.
Yeah, just go re and don't even think about it.
Yeah.
The probe's going to identify the pain train on the way, but it's not quite as painful as it should be. Some of these Dragoons are softened up, but he's being proactive. He's stopping these mines being laid in critical positions, really sandbagging the Terran's advance here.
Yeah, just the amount of meat that he's shaved off at this point is pretty big. He's killed so many Marines. We stopped a couple of those mines. We've killed a Vulture, right? Like, there's not a whole lot of protection for these tanks. He's going to start a slow push that he did against Dewalt, or sorry, against Bonyth, but, you know, there's no bunkers up with a bunch of Marines this time. There's very, very little meat for these tanks this time.
I'm so happy he made a shield battery, because the one thing that wasn't going for him was the Dragoons being a bit low. Now we circumnavigate that issue, but XuanXuan gets a pretty healthy contain. It's just a lot further back than he would like. It's going to take him a lot longer to actually push this Nexus now. As a result, gives Dewalt a lot more time to react to this.
Yeah, it's actually surprising how Goon even goes down. It's surprising how scary this push kind of still is, though. Like, his supply is still pretty decent. He's down 8 workers, so that's a lot of army supply, and yeah, Dewalt's going to have to abandon the natural. And despite how well this game's been going for Dewalt so far, he doesn't feel like he can hold this either. This is just a strong push from XuanXuan.
Well, we killed Marines, and we stopped the mines being laid down, but we didn't do anything about the tank count, right? So there was still a lot of threat behind this push. He's actually going to elevator out a bunch of Dragoons and go on a bit of a warpath, cutting off reinforcements and pressuring XuanXuan back at home and holding the ramp in his own main base. It's going to be a bit of a bizarre situation, because I don't think there's anything back at home to defend, just this one mine that actually gets a no. That's so painful. Kills a Goon and gets 2 low HP. About as bad as it gets. He does get 1 connection off on that mine that's buried, so it's easier to sweep out. Now we got the Reaver out to try and hold this attack in the main base, but this is a lot of Terran units streaming in right now, RZ. This could get very dangerous very quickly for Dewalt, trying to keep this Reaver in the safety of the periphery away from those siege tanks, but the counterattack being shut down this much, I'm a little bit worried for Dewalt now.
Yeah, Dewalt looks like he's in a lot of trouble. There's only the 1 Reaver here, and there's 3 gates. I think one of them is even unpowered, so he's only got 2 gate production at the moment. This 1 Reaver, not looking good for Dewalt. He hasn't shaved off any of these tanks. He's finally going to kill the first tank of this push, but a bunch of the probes are going down, and I think Dewalt's dead, Juan.
It does look pretty bad. It does look pretty bad for him, man. Yeah, he's already below the SCV count now. I guess he can eventually clear this out by dumping Reavers on top of the tanks, but it doesn't look good, man, for Dewalt. Even if he does clear out these tanks, he's going to still be playing from behind ever so slightly.
Yeah, gonna fall back and pick off these 2 goons. At least gonna dislodge that 1 mine before taking a shot, but gonna get flanked by these tanks, so these goons are forfeit. And we can just kind of reset back up outside the natural here and just... It'll be a similar game state from the first game, except Dewalt's much weaker than Bonyth was.
Yeah, and he doesn't have the micro of Bonyth, I think, to play out the bag so easily. Like, Dewalt needs a strong economy to get his wins usually. He's not one of those guys that comes back in these high micro situations usually. He's doing a bit of a drop right now on top of the tank siege line, but he's already lost a lot of damage. They're taking a lot of damage on that shuttle as well, which means he can't be as aggro with that shuttle. So he kind of has to keep this shuttle back at home to defend. He can't really go on the offensive with that for the time being. He needs to clear out more and more of these siege tanks. He's doing a pretty respectable job of it. He's got another Reaver popping out now. It's not terrible, man. Like, Dewalt is technically doing it.
Yeah, he's definitely holding on and pushing this back. I mean, it's just, how do you get down here to take a natural? It's so difficult. He's gonna try and get some Reaver shots kind of weaved in between the tank shots here. It does pick off 1 more tank. Vulture's gonna lay some mines here on the ramp.
Ooh.
Gonna chase that down and actually clean that up pretty decent. I think we got a. Do we have a zealot loaded up in there? No,
I
just
don't
the
think
two
so.
Reavers. The Reaver
No.
immediately drops down and doesn't even get the shot off with that Reaver. Oof.
And more SCVs coming down. And once these turrets actually finish, it's pretty bad. Like, it's doable when there's not turrets, but as soon as the turrets are finished, it's really hard to break these positions.
Yeah, it seems like XuanXuan's specialty is as long as everybody has one base, then he's in a comfortable game state.
Yeah, something like that, honestly, man. I'm just still blown away that Dewalt did so good initially, killing off all those Marines, and this attack is still working. Just a testament to how successfully aggro this guy is.
I think a big part of it, if you look at XuanXuan's base, is he didn't have to get nearly as defensive as he did against Dewalt, right? Or against Bonyth, where he had to keep a lot of units home and really kind of defend against all of this stuff. It is finally going to fly with this Reaver and get a lot of damage done, but the problem is it might be a little bit too late. I don't know that he can muster enough forces to deal with this push.
Yeah, he's actually dudding out his Scarabs, unfortunately, as well, so only killing a few SCVs here and there. Doesn't lose the Reaver right away to the mine, and only kills like maybe 6 or 7 SCVs total. It's not that great. And I don't think, like you say, he has enough to actually defend back at home. So even if that attack was more successful, still looks like the writing is on the wall. He's going to go for one last hoorah, dive bomb onto the back line of those tanks with a Zealot and Reaver combo. But I think he's going to lose that. Well, like 2 HP on that tank as well, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, looks like XuanXuan's done it. I mean, like I said, I think a major difference is just he got to rally everything across the map the entire game. Right, whereas before he was so caught up being defensive against Bonyth that it allowed Bonyth to muster what he needed to be able to break through.
Right. Yeah, I think the main linchpin was how unsuccessful the 4-goon elevator was, right? Like, he just didn't have to worry about anything back at home and just ran it down all game long as a result. It's a valiant effort here from Dewalt. It looks like he is going to slowly lose painfully by 1,000 cuts. He's not technically dead, but it's about as dead as you can be. He's going to lose the Robo in just a second here, so he's... What you see is what you get here from Dewalt. A lot of these gateways are going to be unpowered, and he's got a hope and a prayer in this one Reaver and the shuttle to try and hang on. But assuming good micro from XuanXuan, this should be a 1 game.
Yeah. I think another major difference too, you talked about that 4-goon elevator. That was another thing I kind of didn't think about where, Bonyth also did the goon elevator, but he didn't commit to an attack with it. He just set it between the army to pick off stuff coming out of the base to stop them from reinforcing the push.
Exactly. Yeah, that was the main difference here, was that Bonyth created an active threat on the map without actually having to commit anything, whereas Dewalt committed to a counterattack that failed.
Yeah, and Dewalt forgetting to type GG there. So XuanXuan gonna tie it up 1-1 there in that series. A lot of 1-1s today, actually. Pretty closely matched today.
Yeah, I mean, I like to see it, man. Like, it'd be kind of